Well, greetings, YouTubers. It's been a while since I did a garden and a video on my garden, so you can kind of see in the background the repurposed garden boxes turned into chicken nursery, and I've doubled up on the railroad ties, and I've decided that I used to call this a lazy garden, and this is a year I stopped being lazy because it was a whole lot of work filling that thing full of dirt, 2 foot of dirt. There's I got jalapenos going. Not real big, but I've been eating them as they develop. This is my spaghetti squash and my butternut squash that I saved the seeds. We went to the store and bought a spaghetti squash and saved the seeds, and we're gonna get a whole bunch of them this year. So I'm gonna go this big gaping hole here. Whoops. That's where I got the dirt. They used to be my other raised garden bed. We'll go check it out in a minute. I'm going to show you the chicks. Okay, here's our replacer pullets. There's 9 of them. A cat dragged one through the wire one night when they were a little bit littler. Those are our Easter eggers, and they're in the eagle stage. One in front, don't he look like a baby eagle? They all do. So they're doing good, and they're liking being in this cage. Well, before we go check out the new garden, I just want to show you my latest creation. We used to have bales of hay, kind of like a little privacy screen between our fire pit and the street. And my wife, she got the bright idea of having me make a lattice, and then I had no idea she was going to decorate it like that, but I think it looks pretty good and looks pretty inviting in a summer evening. Yeah, here's another creation my wife created through me. It's a waste wood potting bench, and it really came in handy this year. I used it to pot all my little seedlings, you know, because of the quarantine. The plants at the nursery were few and far between, so we had to do our own seeding, and that old seeding bench came in really handy, as our wisteria shades the front of the house pretty good. And here's the thing, I don't know if I showed it to you, but that Catalpa tree is it's like a volunteer. It grew up next to the little water feature, and I kept it because it's a good shade. You know, the trellis blew over one deer in a windstorm, and my wife wanted me to replace it, so Mother Nature replaced it for me. it's a darn good shade. Shades the front of the house, and I keep it trimmed so it's sort of like it's more of a miniature tree. Okay, now I repurposed all the barrels. You can see we got some healthy tomato plants. There's one I started from a cutting. It's coming along nicely. Here's what I like. I like the Romas, and that Roma's, it's loaded and super healthy. Now, take a look at this. I know you can see that it says big beef. Now, what's wrong with this picture? They're cherry tomatoes. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like that big beef. Check them out. Nice big beefy tomatoes. $27 potted tomato plant because it was so mature. Somebody apparently at the nursery, some prankster switched tags, and we got a $27 mature cherry tomato, which my wife hates, but I made up for it by cloning. I cloned the big beef, and with a little luck, you know, it'll give us tomatoes before Christmas. It's an indeterminate, so it'll keep growing until the frost makes it die. So that kind of made up for wasting our money on the cherry tomatoes. Okay, so now if you remember that big hole in the backyard that I'm using for compost, my brainstorm this year was move the raised beds out to the driveway, and also, of course, you can kind of tell now the pots. I mean, what are they? The wine barrels are all on the asphalt, and the raised beds are on the asphalt. That's to discourage gophers. We've been having a horrible time with gophers. So all these plants you see are ones that I seeded. The ones in front are our favorites, cucumbers. And then, of course, my wife likes pumpkins at Halloween time, so we planted a ton of pumpkins this year. The cucumbers are looking good. And of course, now these pumpkins, this is the end of where we bought the plants at the nursery, and we've got a ton of big pumpkins, and we had a ton of these little yellow squash. Oh, there we go. Early yellow crookneck, and we've been eating those, so that's worked out pretty good. Now, I decided to try corn again this year, and of course that figure in the background, that's not my wife, that's her scarecrow creation, which is pretty effective. We don't have any crows. And the corn, it's coming up pretty good. You know, I bought seeds like 5 years ago, and I just planted them this year, so I got a feeling that old seeds probably don't grow too well the first year. I'm gonna save the seeds and plant them again next year and see if they aren't a lot bigger. And then here's my extra. That little row of squash is my extra. I planted a lot of butternuts and zucchinis, and that's, so those are the extras. I just put them in the dead space. So and then a word about the corn patch. This is called a no dig garden, because all I did was mow it down to the ground, and then I put down cardboard to kill the weeds, threw mulch on top of the cardboard, and sowed the seeds right on top of the cardboard, because I know when they, and here's where I get the cardboard. You know, Amazon brings it to us for free. So anyway, the corn's got tassels, presuming the ears will follow. We should have some pretty good corn this year from just planting on top of a cardboard. You know, when you water it and the seeds, the roots go down and eat the cardboard and go into the ground. And it worked pretty good the first couple of times I did it. So anyway, gonna come over here, and here's our grape, our little grape project. Something about this that I never knew, but I know now, and that is there's this kind of a bug. It's called skeletonizing. It's called a skeletonizing wasp. Okay, here we go. Here's one of the little, I don't know, can you see that little caterpillar? Whoops. Okay. See the caterpillar? Okay, you could. And then here. See the skeleton leaves? That's what the thing does. It's not a beetle like you might think, or here's some more. It lives in the ground, and the little bugs, the little caterpillars, there's a million of them, and then they just eat your grape leaves. And so we're kind of like not really into insecticides and stuff, so we're sort of just living with it for the time being. Anyway, hey, gonna show you a squig now. Oh, well, here's our. Remember the grandma peach tree? It's grown quite a bit, and I'm guessing its roots have reached the ground by now. So, and of course it's loaded again as usual. Okay, if you remember Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley, now check it out. Check out his face. Yeah, sniff, sniff. Now yawn for me. Come on. Come on, buddy. Let me see those tusks. Oh boy. He does like his pig chow. I wish you could. Okay, well, those tusks really scare me. I go in there though. He doesn't know how dangerous he is. So apparently, he also doesn't realize that he's our hedge against starvation if we got to quarantine much longer.